During this demo, I will try to work with KDN to create a simple application. So KDN is part of the KAIDEN project. So the KAIDEN project contains a graphical user interface with which you can create sandboxed workspaces to work with your AI agents. This UI is using the KDN CLI on the background, and you can also use this CLI if you prefer to work on the terminal instead of working with graphical user interfaces. So to install it, you have the KDN repository, and there is a link to the official documentation. So the link to install it, you can get it here, and from a terminal, here the CLI is installed. You can check the version, it is a good one. So the first thing we have to do when working with AI is to have access to providers, to models providers. So I have a few environment variables defining that I am using Vertex AI with a Vertex project, and two environment variables. This one are for Cloud to say that I am using Vertex, and I have given it the cloud region. And with this, I have an autoconf command with KDN, which will detect these environment variables and which will configure KDN and Cloud to get these values and work with Vertex AI. So I choose to set this configuration into the Cloud specific configuration. So every workspace using the Cloud agent will get this information. And the autoconf command also detects that I have a git config, and so it will mount it read-only into my workspaces. And I will do this for all projects. So by doing this, KDN autoconf has created for me two files, the agents and projects config. If we look at the project config, we can see the mount of the git config file, and into the agents, it has just set the environment variables it has detected before. So what is my project? I will try to work on a simple application. I have a Discogs collection, and I would like to have my own application displaying my collection. And so we will try to do this using the SvelteKit toolkit. And so we will ask KDN to help me configure my environment to do this. I would like to have MCP server configured with Svelte MCP server, also with a Playwright MCP server to help debug the application. And so we will start just a simple workspace. So we need to define a runtime and an agent. So we will start with a Podman agent, Podman runtime, and with the Cloud agent, which is configured. So it is creating a workspace. And now I can start working into my workspace just with terminal and the name of the workspace. So the name of the workspace created is the name of my my current password, current directory. This is my current directory, and so this is my workspace name, and I can start my session with KAIDEN terminal and my session name. And so here we go, it has created a cloud session, and so I will ask the agent to help me configure my workspace with that MCP. So KAIDEN is providing a skill. You will get it for every workspace. It is a config KAIDEN workspace. It is integrated. It is mounted every time for each workspace, and it will help you configure. So the configuration, you can get configuration at different level into the workspace, meaning that it is into the repository, generally into the sources of your project, or for a specific agent, or for all your workspaces. So my MCP server, I will add it only for my workspace. It will be an npx command. So here it is looking into the internet how to configure a built MCP server. I cannot help it, I would say. So the agent has found an MCP server for Svelte, so it is creating me a configuration for KAIDEN with the good configuration to start the MCP server. So let's create it. And now it explains me that I need to restart my workspace to make the MCP server available. So before this, I will also ask it to install a Playwright MCP. So it has found the Playwright MCP server from Microsoft. It is configuring it into my workspace. This is nice. And so we can start with this. We will exit the workspace. We need to remove it and recreate it for the MCP servers to be available. So we create it again with the same command as before. If you want to see what happens, you have a show logs flag with the init command, which displays anything it is doing when building the environment. So it is based on Podman, so it is building a container image based on a Fedora image and adding a few things to the image. So now it is started again. We can check the MCP. We will try to connect. So there is a problem because the MCP are using npx command to be installed, but into the container there is no node platform. If you want to check, so when running the KAIDEN terminal, by default it is running the agent and you can execute any command. So we can start a shell into the workspace and we can check if the npx is installed. It is not. So what we will do, we will get help to get node installed into the workspace. So we will ask the agent for this. So there is a feature thing into the configuration. You can use dev containers feature to be installed into your workspace. So we will ask the agent to help us. So help me install node into the workspace using a dev container feature. So it is using again the config KAIDEN workspace. So it is using these few lines. So it will install the node feature, the LTS version. That's okay. So we will need to start again because this feature will be installed when the container image is built. We have seen before that the image is built when running KAIDEN init. So let's do it again. We can check again with our shell into the workspace. Now npx is available. That's nice. We go back, we start the cloud agent, and now if we list the MCPs, they are both connected. Right. So now we will explain it to start an application with Svelte. So I will explain the agent what to do. The API documentation is here. So for the moment, the agent is asking me permissions for any operation because my environment is not secure yet. Later we will see how to secure it and make it more independent. So it is creating a skeleton. So the agent has created a few files and it is writing into the README the instructions for me to test the application. it has started the application into the container. It is testing with curl. And now it will try to test with playwright. Let's see what happens. So the problem with playwright is that you need to have some browser installed, so it will try to install Chrome. So let's check. I think I will ask it to install Chromium from the Fedora distribution. And now checking if it works correctly. So yes, it was able to test it, so that's nice. So one thing to do, I will need to get credentials from the Discogs platform to be able to connect to it. So I will do it and I will be back soon. So I have created my credential and it has started the application. It is exposed into the container, but I cannot have access from my host. So what we will do, first we will save all the context, what is needed for the next session. So write into agents.md and we can configure our workspace to access a specific port, one or more specific ports, to be able to access the application running into the workspace from the host. So configure the workspace to access the app from the host, and be sure to start the app in all interfaces. So it is starting the app on the 0 address. It will modify the agents file to explain this for the next time. It forgot to configure my workspace. I will ask again, configure to forward the app port. This should be described into the config KDN workspace skill. So here it is adding the ports into the workspace.json file. This seems correct. And so now we have the workspace configured. Yes, I am forgetting one thing. So I ask the agent to install Chromium at some point during the session, and I would like to make it available next time automatically without installing it every time. So we have seen that we have installed a feature for Node. There is also a way to have a local feature to install everything we want, and so we will use this thing. So create a local feature to install Chromium to be used by Playwright. So it is creating a local feature named Chromium. It is adding the metadata for the feature. And most importantly, it is creating the shell command to install Chromium. That seems correct. And into the workspace, it is referencing this local feature this way. So here it explains me that I need to restart my workspace because we have configured a few things into the workspace. So let's do it again. Let's check what is into my workspace config now. We have the node feature, we have the Chromium feature, a local one, and we still have the Svelte and Playwright MCP servers, and we have the port which will be forwarded to the host. So we will stop it and create it again with the new configuration. We start the agent session again, and we ask it to start the app. And to access it, there is an open command. We pass the workspace name, and we could pass the port. It is not mandatory because there is only one. Got it? It is able to display my collection. So that's a very nice first step. Test the app with the Playwright MCP. So it is invoking the Playwright MCP, and now it is using the MCP to test it. Let's check if it is working correctly. It seems it is. And so you can start iterate working into the application this way, because you are able to test, or the agent is able to test the application with Playwright. So that's pretty cool. This is the second step. The first step, it was able to create the app. I was able to access the app from my host, and now it is able to test it using Playwright locally into the container from the workspace. And there is a special feature with KAIDEN to limit the access to network. For now, the agent can have access to any network, but it is not secure, And so we will configure it to have access to only a limited set of hosts. Okay, so the tests are finished. The agent is happy with the test. So now configure the workspace on network deny mode and set a whitelist with needed host. We will see if it has in mind a list of hosts to whitelist. So it has added discogs, pretty cool, the npm JS registry, and for the local host ones are not necessary. These ones are already handled by KDN. So discogs, npm.js, so that seems pretty correct. We will start again. So I recreated my workspace, and you remember with the init command, and you remember that when we start the terminal command, we can start with any specific command. So I want to check the cloud help to know how to start cloud without any confirmation. So there is this dangerously skip permissions, which is recommended only for sandboxes with no internet access. So it should be our case. And so we can run cloud this way. And we can check into Podman desktop. The workspace is running into a pod named like the workspace, and into it there is a approval handler. We can check the configuration file. There is a list of hosts, so these ones are the ones added by the agent, and these ones are automatically added by KDN because it knows that we are using Vertex AI, and Vertex AI are accessing this host. And into the logs, we will see which hosts are accessed by the agent and which one are approved or denied. So let's go. So npm.js is approved. There is a svelte.dev which has been denied. So read agents md and start the app. We will see if everything is working. We will ask it to test the app. So the test should trigger some request on the discogs. Test the app with playwright. So here you can see the call to discogs. So it has been approved. And so you can see that all the hosts we didn't add to the whitelist are refused. And so we are sandboxed to exactly the minimum part of the internet we want. And the agent now can be much more independent. I am not afraid anymore about a few requests it could make. and now I am much more confident to iterate on working on my application. So that's it for the demo. Thanks everyone.